Hey guys, Chris Lumley here with Bullet Central coming at you again. So today I'm going to get you another Tech Central video installing our heavy tungsten hammer in this FX M3. Go through all the steps so you can get it done properly and safely. Let's get into it. Alright guys, so now we got the rifle ready to go. First thing you gotta do with any gun, make sure you degas it. You don't want to be working on a gun with air. Dangerous if the pressures were working. If you haven't done it before, let's go over it real quick. Take your bottle, screw it off. There is a valve inside, so you don't have to worry about losing your air. You will hear a little hiss of air here. Right there. Okay, so now your bottle is going to come right off. Put it aside. Make sure it doesn't roll off, get damaged, anything like that. Okay. Now, the gun does not have the bottle on it, so there's no air, but we do have air in the plenum. Take a 2.5mm Allen key. Right here behind the trigger, you'll see a little brass screw. Turn that counterclockwise, and you'll release the air from the plenum, and that'll degas your gun. Do that now. You can hear it hissing. You can watch your gauge on the back. It'll slowly drop down. You want to make sure it's not hissing, because again, high pressure. Allen key that we use here, we do use the ball tips. It is easier to get in there because you do kind of have to fiddle around to fit it in that opening. The straight might work, you might damage it. I would advise doing the ball ends like that. So here we go, just about to the end here. As soon as that gets down, I'm just going to close this up a little bit so when we get to the end, air everything back up, and we're good to go. Okay. We're at 0, the last little bit's coming out. There we go. Good to go. I'll just close this all the way down. This is shutting off that second regulator, so you'll have to readjust that when you're done. Now that we're there, you take your valve adjuster off. Unscrew that all the way out. Set that aside, again like your tank, you don't want to lose it. Okay, got your valve adjuster, your adjuster spring. Now you're going to need an 11mm wrench. Pop right onto the flats and just slowly pop that off. There should be no Loctite, no glue, no adhesive, anything like that. If it's a little tight, give it a little torque, it'll come off. If it's anything too much, stop. You don't want to damage anything. We'll unscrew that. Okay, there's your valve. Valve stop. Pull the guts out here. Now, you're going to have to take the gut piece off here. I'm actually going to have to pop the shroud out, pop the barrel out to be able to do that. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the barrel off. I'll show you a couple of the other parts we have to remove to get that hammer in. Flip her over. You got your Allen bolt back here, your set screw, excuse me. Don't have to take that all the way out, just loosen it. Pull the barrel. Set that aside, again, like everything else. You don't want to damage it. Take your scope rail off. You got 2 bolts in the back, 1 in the middle. Make sure those guys are out. Helps if you grab the right Allen key for you. There we go. Put that aside, make sure everything's loose. Okay, we'll set that aside, don't lose any bolts. Now you've got your 4 bolts on your cheek piece you're going to pop out. A little more. There you go, those kind of stay self-contained because it is the rubber, it will hold them, so we just put that guy back so we don't lose them. Now you got 2 bolts here, 2 bolts back here, 2, 4, 6, 8. We'll just remove those, that'll take this whole top rib off. Try to keep track of the bolts so you know which one they are, different lengths. You don't want to put a longer one in a short one, strip it out. Damage anything, so try to keep them in order here. Start from the back and just line them up. Okay. See, there's one of your long guys there for the back of your cocking handle. And these guys are going to be longer, and this front bushing, barrel bushing, will come off, so it's to be expected. Don't worry, nothing broke, nothing's damaged. The pressure, so there's two long ones. There's your barrel bushing. This is what we're looking at if you do one of our carbon shrouds and tensioners. This would be considered a standard without the FX clamp. The other one you will see has the two set screws in it. That is the FX clamp if you are looking at the carbon tensioner. Now, should be able to take these off when we get all the bolts out here. I missed two. There we go, one more. This backbone will just come off. There we go. Set that aside here. Keep my bolts together. Okay, so now when you're here, pull back, you can slightly lift up. There's a little play there. That's what you're looking for. If you lift that up, you just tilt the gun forward. There your guts come out. So what we're going to do, Ernest Rowe has made this handy little tool, which is going to go on the end here. There's a little screw, not a little screw, excuse me, a little divot. At that point, it's going to go into that set screw. That's going to help us remove the end here. Loosen that up. And go right through the hole there, tighten it. This is the one part that's going to be a little weird. You are going to need a vice grip to slightly grab your hammer rod. You don't want to put too much pressure on it. You're not going to damage it. You're not going to score it, anything like that. Basic vice grip, just clamp on it. Then we're clamped. You'll see when it starts turning, my shaft is not rotating, so I don't have to worry. I'm not stripping it, not damaging anything like that. These are really fine threads. Twist that guy off. There you go. You can just leave that in there for reinstall. Pop your vice grip off. Now you can slowly take out your pieces. Again, like the screws, keep them in place. There's the stock FX hammer. We are going to replace it with Bullet Central's custom tungsten hammer. This is the heavyweight, 254 grains. I'm going to go ahead, slide that in, and just work like we did, but do it backwards, installing everything. Put that on, screw it back on. Be careful with the threads. They are very fine threads. You don't want to damage them. Clamp on. You don't want to torque, bend, anything like that, because again, you don't want to bend your shaft. Snug that on. Make sure we're tight. There we go. Back this off. A little more. Then we can take our tool off, shove it back inside the gun, reinstall everything, and you're ready to go out back shooting. In. Okay. Now, just like we did, take them off, let's put it back together. Put our bushing back on. It might be a little out of focus. I gotta lift it up, guys. I'm sorry. Get everything lined up. Okay, there we go. So I got that. Take our longer screws that were up front here. Put them through your barrel bushing. Hold that guy in place. There we go. Put everything back, and we'll just work on getting our bolts back together now. So you grab your longer bolt here. It only goes into one. The other side doesn't fit. Don't force it. Put them in, snug them down. Again, you don't need to get them super tight. Okay, now that we got that on, we'll move our stock hammer out of the way. Put it on, take our cheek piece, slide that on. These ones you can over tighten the bolts. Just get them so they're snug. You don't want to push through that rubber base. There we go. Okay, now that we got those on, we can move back up to the front here. I'm going to wait with putting the scope rail on, just so you guys can see a little clearer here. And you got to assemble everything backwards. Take your valve stop, put that on, screw it in. And again, remember when you took it off, it was not super tight. They're snug, but not overly tight because you don't want to damage your threads. Give it, that's plenty. Install your spring, your valve adjuster. Screw that on till you get just about to your fourth line here. Okay, there you go. Put the barrel on, line your stop pin up. There you go, we're in. Grab your Allen key, snug it down. Gonna add our bullet central tensioner and shroud kit back on the rifle. Okay, now we can go ahead and put the scope rail back on. Just want to leave that off so you guys can see what we were doing here. See if I can cradle this for you guys to see. That guy in. I'm going to tighten up, snug this front one up here. There we go. Okay, that guy's tight. Sound like a broken record, but please do not over tighten anything. You can snug them down pretty good, but don't want to strip anything out. There we go, it's tight. Now we're good. Okay, got that on. Last thing to do, grab your bottle, thread it back on. Thread it all the way back on. And remember, when you do this, you will have to reset your second valve. And your second regulator, excuse me. Tighten that up until it stops. Okay, because we did empty the plenum, your second regulator will be off. So what we gotta do, set screw here behind the trigger, put your Allen key in there, counterclockwise to increase your pressure, clockwise to decrease it. I'm sitting right now at about 60 bar, I wanna bump that up to about 110. So I'll go counterclockwise here. There we go. We go little bits at a time, because if you overshoot, you've got to shoot the gun multiple times, trying to bring that regulator pressure down. Okay, there's 90. Let's go about 90. That'll work for this gun. We're not shooting fast speeds on this one yet. I got to air it up, find my pellets, and get to tune with that new tungsten hammer in there. Alright guys, so that was how we installed the tungsten hammer in this M3. Really easy, nothing to be afraid of. If you have any questions, give me a call. 701-371-4444. Again, I'm Chris Lumley, product specialist here at Bullet Central. Thank you.